So it was thee who would become my lord. Perhaps I needn't have warned thee.
Hold it! What's going on here? Did we miss something? No, Lars is still too cheap to hire proper voice actors. That's what we've missed.
Huh. So that's your goddess.
Watch your mouth, kid! That's my wife and the best waifu who survives my harrowing tale. See, a lot of people these days complain that they want to know the ending before they even engage with the story. So, to you, Kazuma, Subaru, Kirito, I wanted to assure everyone that the title of my isekai is exactly what it states: That Time I Married a Goddess. You know, authors only resort to such ridiculously long titles because all the powerful simple ones like Overlord and ReZero have been taken, and too many people are not creative enough to come up with something interesting. I always thought it was a result of being forthright with the plot.
Well, nothing in your guys' story could beat such a catching name and title like Sword Art Online or Gun Gale Online, Beater or The Black Swordsman, which is exactly what I am.
You know, maybe you'll want to avoid claiming that title.
But it's mine! I earned it fair and square, with my ability to beat ultra-powerful boss monsters single-handedly because of how I altered my grandfather's kendo techniques.
But that's not how video games are supposed to work! As the god of a video game world who makes all of my own rules, yes, I can confirm Subaru's statement. Forget all of that! I'm just wondering why he even passed over with this story. You say you brought anarchy to this Limgrave place thingy whatever, and that you went through a whole lot of pain and torment, but come on! Other than several dying montages in the last video, you haven't shown us that you really suffered, unlike what I once had to put up with!
シルビアさん、俺のケツになんか当たってるんですが。当ててんのよ!
Fair enough, but first buy this tarnish to drink, and then I'll tell you the next chapter in my epic saga. Killing Godric the Grafted was a critical step on my journey. The mysterious force of grace had led me that way. It also led me to a weapon that legend said would allow me to stomp and freeze my way to victory throughout the lands between. While the ice axe was a very nice weapon, and one I relied on heavily at the start of my journey, it was not as epic as had been told to me within the lore and with other people's help throughout the lands. Yet again, another crushing disappointment. But as I continued to explore this world, I discovered just how behind I was. I had been blindly pursuing my sweet blue smurf witch, and in the process had neglected to save people that I might have otherwise had the opportunity to do so.
Hello? Is somebody there? Might I bend your ear for a moment, please? My name is Irina. I've escaped from Castle Morn to the south. The servants there have rebelled. I can't be sure what it is. My eyesight's been weak since birth, you see. But I swear I heard frightful howling from all over. My good father secreted me out the castle, but decided himself to stay. He says it's his duty. As commander. I fear for father's life. The servants are full of wrath, filled with hatred for every one of us. They've since come for every one of the companions I escaped with. They haven't spared a soul. I fear it's no different at Castle Morn. Please, I implore you, would you mind taking a letter to my father? At the castle, my soul wishes that he escape, even if his honor should be the price. Please. I just want him to be safe. Thank you. Dearly. Then... deliver it to my father, who remains in the castle, if you please.
At the end of that journey, I realized I needed to learn more about this world, the lands between, what grace was, and what I was meant to do. In the process, I received an invitation to the Round Table.
Camelot, Camelot, Camelot.
We're knights of the Round Table, we dance whenever we're able. We do routines, we call scenes, the footwork impeccable.
Get on with it.
No, seriously, I was invited to the Round Table, where so many champions had carved their illustrious names into this world's history. There, I became reacquainted with Roderica, a girl I had helped who had been stranded on Storm Hill, and Roger, who was cornered deep within the depths of Godric's castle. Does anyone remember these characters from the last video? Just let him roll with this. Maybe he doesn't have the game footage.
Get on with it!
There, I also met plenty of other interesting characters, such as that bastard Gideon the All-Knowing, who was hurting my friend and potential love interest, Nephili. And speaking of potential love interests, I met Fia, the deathbed companion, along with this mysterious chick, Melina, who kept popping up at random times. It looked like I might just get a harem! But oh, I was so wrong there. Anyway, meeting all of these fine people at the Round Table Hold, I received plenty of information that would finally put me on the proper path to figuring out what was going on. Nothing that would explain why I had been isekai'd. Nope, they couldn't care less. After all, there was a quest on the way, a quest to become the next Elden Lord and fix this horribly broken world in the sudden absence of Queen Marika, leader of the gods, and the wake of destruction and curses left by her warring children. In order to better understand this world, therefore, my place within it, and how to find my beloved witch once again, I needed to storm the besieged stronghold of Rhea Lucaria Academy. This grimdark version of Hogwarts sits in the middle of the drowned continent, surrounded by all kinds of twisted monsters and soldiers intent on keeping the Lucarian royalty sealed behind magical doors. But at the heart of the ancient school lies all kinds of dangerous, powerful secrets. And so I equipped myself and attacked the school single-handedly. Oh my gosh, that sounds so bad out of context. Oh well, let's get down with the destruction. I eventually made my way to the inner chambers of the school where I fought my future mother-in-law. Wait, you fought your own mother-in-law? That had to have gone really, really badly. Kind of. She was really easy to bring down, actually. But then, the voice of my beloved witch resonated through the inner chamber, and there I fought a true vision.
Upon my name as Rani the Witch. Mother's rich slumber shall not be disturbed by thee. Foul trespasser. Send word far and wide. Of the last queen of Caria, Renala of the Full Moon. And the majesty of the night she conjureth.
With Queen Renala of Raya Lucaria defeated, the school largely subjugated under my blade, and now beholden to the Round Table hold, I had a new base of operations, and a place from which I could strike out across the rest of the continent. But more importantly, I had some clues, now about my elusive witch. She was the daughter of Renala. Unfortunately, the queen is very, very gone in the head, but with that knowledge of familial relationships, I could return to the Round Table hold and mosey through my new network of allies to find out exactly what I needed to do once and for all to meet the woman that was going to one day be my wife. Okay, if your story is going to drag on this long, I can see why you'd give away the entire plot in your overly long title. But unlike all those other stories, the adventure here is worth it, and this is no wish fulfillment fantasy. Remember my axe? Yeah, that was supposed to be a boss-killing weapon that I just got wiped out way too many times using than I care to count. Hi there everyone, Lars back with my second installment for That Time I Married a Goddess. It was fun to do the previous episode, and I thought that its amazing reception warranted another installment. But beyond the fun that I'm having here, I wanted to address the topic of wish fulfillment fantasy. There's a big demand for stories where people can project themselves onto the main characters, and they keep these characters simple, bland, baseline relatable, and then let the reader or viewer play out in their own minds what it would be like if they could have all that power, if they could have all that money, the magic, the loot, the love interests. Huzzah! There's such a big market for these kinds of stories, and it's especially flexed its way now out of the romance genre into isekai that there's a lot of money to be had. And where there's money to be had, of course, there's going to be so many of these kinds of stories rolling around. And when it comes to isekai, well, this kind of assumption for bland characters that we can project ourselves onto to enjoy wish fulfillment, well, that kind of works out really well because the basic premise of an isekai is that anyone from our world could get teleported into another and start a new life. As a result, isekai stories are fertile grounds for these wish fulfillment fantasies. However, much like eating candy, it's fun and all, but it doesn't really fill you up for the long run. And I think that's because after a while, in order to keep the fantasy going, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and more special until it's no longer relatable, challenging, or really any fun at all. It stretches your suspension of disbelief that you can interpose yourself on this bland protagonist because it's gotten too big. It's too much. There's no way that you would ever want to do that, and so there goes the wish fulfillment fantasy because you're no longer projecting yourself so much onto that character. Good wish fulfillment has a specific goal for the audience, and it seeks to do just that, nothing more. But there is an unintended consequence of all of this. Isekai, once just Japan's way of saying portal fantasy, has been twisted to become a subgenre of portal fantasy itself that almost exclusively focuses on bland video game themed worlds that follow a specific list of tropes. However, portal fantasy is far more than just simple wish fulfillment, or getting sucked out of your boring bad life to go on one of adventure, love, and plenty that you were always entitled to. Nope, not in the slightest. Portal fantasy at its heart is about transforming a character into the person that they were meant to be by giving them an adventure that they could never have had on Earth. And in turn, they have a positive or negative influence on the world and its people around them that they could never have had without someone from Earth dropping on in. And while it's easy to see how this devolves into wish fulfillment, the truth of the matter is that the best portal fantasy stories, from Chronicles of Narnia to Neverwhere to Beyonders to The Dark Tower, put their characters through difficult adventures where they have to learn to overcome. They are forced to mature and become wise through defeat. They are not superpowered, but must prove themselves worthy of the great destiny that they have been called to fulfill. Instead of wish fulfillment, portal fantasy is meant to be ennobling, an ennobling journey that forces the audience to think, what would I do in that situation? Could I be a great hero, or would I be the villain? Rather than thinking, what power-up will I get next? There's certainly a much larger conversation and comparison to be had between portal fantasy and what isekai has largely become. If you'd like us to tackle that topic in a future video, let us know and we will get working on it. And if you want to read some portal fantasies that will really take you places without wish fulfillment, then please check out my books, The Monarch Mercenaries, Knights of Halicruz, The Dark Rebellion, and The Marauding Empire Parts 1 and 2. It would help us out a bunch as well. But ultimately, we're glad that you've been following us on this incredible adventure that we call writing, and especially joining us for this installment of That Time I Married a Goddess. And so until the next video, y'all, I gotta spend some more time with my witchy goddess wife. And juice.